Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom. Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom. Now before I continue, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like. That like doesn't cost you anything, and leave me your comments on the video. On this episode of Family Fiancé, Season 4, Episode 2, we have Sonia and Michael, and the name of the episode is She Works Hard for the Money. Okay, listen, I know I can't sing, but that's the name of the episode. She works hard for the money. So when Michael and Sonia meet with Tracy, they finally arrive to the house. Of course, Tracy asks, why are you here and how can I help with the relationship and get you both on the same path of where you want to be? Sonia says that Michael, even though they've been engaged for 3 years, Michael is inconsistent. He's lying. He never gives her time for herself. He doesn't contribute to the household. And it's just a day-to-day struggle. Now, Sonia says she has 3 different jobs versus Michael. He does have a job, but he clearly doesn't bring in money from these jobs because Sonia says she's holding everything down and she really needs a break. Now, for work, Michael is an HVAC technician, and he says he also has a growing side business to help subcontract work for, to get his business up and running. But apparently the things that we learned from Michael, he doesn't sound like he's at work at all. Now, is it me or does Michael seem like he's very standoffish? Michael says, well, he wants to take care of Sonia, that she doesn't need to work at all. But I'm like, how can she do that? Because when it was mentioned that Michael plays video games for 5 hours a day, every day, maybe more, I'm like, 5 hours a day. So how long is he at work? Now, coming to join Michael and Sonia at the Family Fiancé house is Sonia's mom, dad, and her bestie, Jordan. And then on Michael's side, you have his mom, his grandmother, and his daughter, Janiah. Now, it turns out that Sonia's parents have never met Michael. And I find that very interesting in 3 years that Sonia has a young son. And since Sonia, Michael, his daughter and her son live together, that they've never met Michael, not even on FaceTime. I mean, if they're not including FaceTime, I guess, because technically that's not in person, but they're making it seem like all they know is Michael's name and that's it. So as mentioned, so it's Sonia's family and Michael's family coming to the Family Fiancé house. And Michael is talking about his daughter, Janiah. He's saying that him and Janiah don't have the best relationship and he doesn't feel like he's been a good father to her. Backstory is Janiah's mother passed away at the age of 12 and she came to live with her dad. And apparently they just really haven't gotten along since her mother passed away. It's a lot going on the backstory with Michael and his family. Now, let me shout out Sonia's pops, her dad. Okay, first of all, her parents look really good. Her dad rocked his khakis, whether it be his high water khaki slacks to his khaki shorts. Khakis over everything. Okay, pops, I see you. So when the family sit down, and Sonia and Michael greet them and tell them about the task that Tracy has assigned. The tasks seem to be basically the same. Ask questions of each other from the families to see, where the disconnect is. Now, when Sonia and Michael break off into groups, so Sonia goes with his family and Michael goes with her family. So Sonia sits down with Michael's grandma, mom, and daughter. And Sonia has this big old white erase board with budgets, and she has what she takes care of in the home and what he takes care of in the home. And it's about a list of like 20 things. I'm exaggerating, not 20, but at least 15, okay, on each side. And at the very top, Sonia has what she brings in monthly. So she has 3 jobs now. So monthly, Sonia said it was like either between $3,600 or $3,800. I'm like, a month with 3 jobs? No, that's not enough. Okay. And then on Michael's side, it says, I would like Michael to contribute $1,000 monthly. I'm like, so what is he contributing at all? Okay. So Sonia has written down, she takes care of the mortgage, and the mortgage is half, a little more than half of her income. So I believe the mortgage was like $2,100. Then she pays the utilities, the groceries, her car insurance, all the incidentals. And on Michael's side, she has, only thing he has on there is car insurance that he pays himself. And then it goes on a list of, he needs to get rid of his video games, he needs to be committed more, need to be consistent, and just all kind of stuff, right? So again, I'm just in there thinking, $3,600, 3 jobs, that's $1,000 per job. Not even that. It's like $500 per paycheck every month for 3 jobs. Michael needs to step it up. That is so unacceptable. But anyways, so when Sonia has spelled all this out for the family, Michael's mom is flabbergasted. She was pretty much flabbergasted the entire episode. But she's like, oh, wow, so what is he bringing in? And she's like, he's not giving me anything. He's just, he doesn't give me the $1,000 I would require to help out. And he's just basic on these video games. He cooks every now and then. And then Michael's grandma, Grandma Nana, Grandma Gloria, I believe that's her name. She says that, well, Michael has come to me several times and I've given him about $7,000. Here go mom again. What? You giving Michael money? Even Sonia was like, well, what's he doing with that money? I'm like, girl, first of all, check your ring. Okay? He probably took some of that money and got you a ring. And I noticed that Michael had a gold watch on. The gold watch looked like it could have been 18 karat gold. That's the type of gold it was, unless it's a good knockoff or whatever. But whatever Michael spent the money on is definitely not towards no bills. Okay, maybe it's for video game equipment and video games itself. But I would have been real upset. I think Sonia was, but it didn't really translate that way. And I'll get that in a moment. So when Michael talks to Sonia's family, all right, so the concerns are, the questions are supposed to be anonymous, but when they answer the question that they read, seems like the person who wrote the question is the one like responding, right? So Jordan, one of the questions were, how do you feel about Sonia working so much? And then Michael says if he had his way, Sonia wouldn't be working at all. And so Jordan says, well, Sonia likes to work, her purpose to work, she has the business. So how do you feel about it? Like, how are you going to help her financially? Because now Sonia's parents chimed in. And so then Michael was like, well, even I haven't had a new pair of sneakers in I don't know when, in years. And I'm like, stop the cap. Because we know the secret. Grandma is giving you cash on the low. So clearly your outfit and everything else, your haircuts, is coming from somebody else because Sonia don't have the extra cash to give. It's very, very clear. But Michael is saying what he has to say. And I agree with Jordan. He says in confessional, he said, it seems like Michael came prepared with pre-thought out answers to things that possibly we would be asking, because he knows that we're going to be asking financials. And one thing too that Jordan says, and they say it in like a little quick scene with Jordan and Sonia, it's like, you know that Sonia tells her bestie Jordan everything about the financials, because Jordan knows a lot more than he's saying on camera. And for Michael to think that he's pulling the wool over everybody's eyes, it's very evident he's hiding something. But like I said, nobody knew what until Grandma spilled the beans. All right. So later in the evening, everyone comes to the table for dinner. And again, is it me, or does the family fiance dinner plan menu always seems to be spaghetti and salad? But maybe it's budget concerns. It is what it is. Now, at the table, and let me just say this too, sometimes a family fiance house, the guests can be a little out there, but that's not it with this time around with this family. The dinner was very reserved, and that's unusual for family fiance. Michael brought up the fact of the questions that was asked about the financial issues, because that really is what's driving this relationship. The financial issues followed by communication and issues, right? And so Michael is saying that, I mean, he wants to help out financially, and he realized that playing video games for 5 hours, he said maybe he could cut it back to 2. Here go Michael's mom again. What? 2? How about none? Now, I have to say on this part, I'm only going to give Michael a crumb, but I don't see anything wrong with playing video games as an escape for a little me time, but not 5 hours a day, every day. You know, there definitely needs to be some type of compromise. I don't know why Sonia hadn't thought about this before, because there is a lot on her shoulders. She has a young man in the household, her son. Is this what she wants him to look up to? Okay, seeing his mom struggle financially, lack of communication, and I'm sure with all that comes a lot of tension and stress, causing arguments. I mean, why else would you be at the family fiance house? Now, when Michael said, he would cut back on those 5 hours, Sonia's dad said, listen, I've been self-employed almost all my life. I have made plenty of sacrifices. And he said, you know what? It's time for you to grow up, buckle up, and do what you got to do. I mean, how many hours in a day does he work? Does he only work part-time? Does he work on call? Because clearly he's not bringing in enough money. And then his side business doesn't even sound like it's off the ground. So, Sonia's parents are like, we need someone to help financially with our daughter. And if you're going to be around, you need to step it up. And I thoroughly agree. And I know Michael's mom was definitely on the same page as that. After dinner, Sonia and Michael talk, and he's admitting that, yes, he goes to his grandmother for advice and different things like that, because Sonia had mentioned, when we were talking, your grandma threw out a number of how much cash she's giving you. And Michael's like, well, she's giving me advice, and I've taken her knowledge my entire life, so I'm not going to stop now. So even if she says that she doesn't want us to get married, I would take that advice. I was like, okay, Michael, so Grandma Nana has a lot of pull in your life, I see. So anyways, the next day, Sonia and Michael meet with Tracy, and Michael is saying how he felt attacked with the questions, whether it was the one-on-one with her family or even at the dinner table. I'm like, attacked? You're feeling attacked because you're playing video games most of the day? You're not helping out at home, and you're inconsistent, and people are putting you to task like, hey, you need to help out more? To me, the audacity with a capital T. Tracy asks Sonia how much she wants Michael to contribute, and I'm just surprised that this just kept coming up with her family, his family, and now Tracy's asking again, and she says $1,000. And I'm just like, how much money does he make? That's what I really wanted Tracy to ask. Like, how much money do you bring home a month? Because the $1,000 on Sonia's whiteboard really was a question mark. Now, he does say, Michael, that he spent so much time on the game because he thought that, when he was growing up, he was into basketball, like he was going to go pro. Those were his hoop dreams. So playing basketball is like, where he zones in. So to me, he's fantasizing like, this is me. Like, I'm in the game and I'm playing all these different teams, and boop, boop, boop. If I win, yeah, there's no contract, no NBA contract. Michael, are you for real? Then the conversation goes into the relationship with Michael and his daughter, Janiah. And as mentioned earlier, Janiah's mother passed when she was 12. And Michael says that he feels like he hasn't been a great father to her. He feels like, he let her down, and he would like a better relationship with her. So Tracy sets up a appointment with the mental health therapist for him and Janiah to go see. So when they do go sit down with her, Janiah opens up of how her mother passed away. Her mother had an asthma attack, and she ended up calling emergency services on the phone. And they were trying to walk her through different steps and her asthma inhaler and different things like that. And Janiah said that she was afraid to even touch her mom, and she just didn't know what to do. Basically, she panicked. And whether you're 12 or 102, depends on the situation. I do believe a lot of us would panic if you don't know what's going on and someone is, having a difficult moment. Well, Janiah has blamed herself for her mother's passing, saying there was more that she thought she can do. And the therapist told her, and her dad said, it's not your fault. And the therapist said, just like I mentioned, who knows what any of us would have done in that situation. It's not your fault. So Janiah gets emotional, and that's completely understood. And so when it comes to the therapist asking Michael, how has he supported his daughter? Michael says that, he hasn't really been there for her. And you could tell the body language isn't there at all. Janiah says she's numb with everything because there's no communication. The therapist says, I see that you are, numb, and that's normal. That's a grieving process. But Michael said that he thought over time his daughter would just get over it. And I'm like, get over what? Her mother's passing? He thought she would just get over it, and she was there and present. How do you feel that way, that your child would just get over losing her mom at a tender age? And just in general. So to me, that says a lot about how Michael felt about Janiah's mother and just in general. And so clearly his daughter felt the lack of love, the lack of emotion from her dad, because for him to just say that just bluntly out, that's how he feels, and no telling, he's probably said that to her just like that. Michael did say he was thankful for his mom and grandma for stepping in to help, he said, facilitate to raise Janiah. And I have to say, that is a great thing that she had her grandmother and great-grandmother, because look how her father is. Look how disconnected he is with her. But as the therapy session went on, they had a small breakthrough. Janiah cried, her dad cried. They had a side hug, and they both said they felt better, but you could still see the tension in the body language with Janiah. Now, after the therapy session, Michael tells Sonia how everything went, and he said he, felt in his heart how it was open with Janiah, communicating with him, and how he felt even getting a hug from her. All right, so now it's day 3. It's the blessing ceremony. Now, before Michael and Sonia meet with the family for the blessing, they stop to talk with Tracy first, and Michael tells Tracy that he never knew that his daughter Janiah felt responsible for her mother's passing, and that he wanted to continue on with therapy sessions for them both when they returned home. Tracy acknowledged that was a good thing, and she went on to talk about helping out at home financially as well, helping Sonia in the household, and getting off those video games, and that how they need to compromise with that. All right. Moving to the blessing ceremony, as they move around the families, they start with Michael's first. Janiah says she feels there's been growth, give her blessings. Michael's mom says, I feel like you can build on your relationship, and I see how much you love each other. Give the blessing. Grandma Nana says, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I got to give yada, yada, yada on Grandma Nana. Okay. And then gives her blessing. Now, we move to Sonia's family. Her bestie Jordan says he sees growth, and he wants to give hope and acknowledgement to the couple, but at this time, he needs to see a little bit more and make sure his friend is not settling. He can't give his blessing right now, but in hopes he can soon. Now we will move to Sonia's mother. She says she gives a blessing. Sonia's father also gives a blessing. So now everyone gets up and hugs like, yay, you know, we're one big happy family. But wait, skirt. Production talks to Michael and Sonia in confessional. Now, Sonia is thrown off by this news. Production says, so Michael, you know, we have cameras and microphones everywhere. And we have clips of you and your grandma Nana where you're telling her what to say at the blessing ceremony. So you see the shots of Michael telling his grandma what to say, and she's writing it down. She goes, oh, you want me to say this? Say this? Okay, I'll say this. I was like, what? You have to coach your grandma on what to say? But then we see Michael's mom, grandma, and daughter Janae in another production cam after taping. And grandma says, well, yeah, I wrote it down because he wanted me to give the blessing. But then grandma made this face. She's like, you know, I really didn't want to get the blessing because, like, I don't see it for them. I was like, Grandma, Nana, and Michael are sneaky. I don't know what's going to take for Sonia. I know you love this man because she said she did. But sometimes some women think they could build a bear. Sometimes you need to learn to let it go. And as Tracy said earlier, are you willing to accept Michael for where he is today? Are you willing to accept that this is not going to change? Are you comfortable with that? She said no. So now that she knows this from Grandma, Nana, and Michael, child, the follow-up is to the show, because production always gives a follow-up of where the families are now. And it says that Michael is still playing video games, but has grown his business and no longer asks grandma for money. I mean, if you believe that, all right, I got a river in the desert to sell you. And we also see that Sonia and Michael have started individual and couples therapy and have pushed their wedding date out to focus on growth. And then it also says, finally, that Michael is struggling with his relationship with Janiah as she's not returning his calls. There's a lot of deep, deep, deep hurt there. So I really hope one day they can get past that. So, all right, everyone. That was the end of the episode. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you next week for Family or Fiancé. Don't forget, I will be going live soon to discuss episodes 1, 2, and 3. So until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.